I'm Clara.
And I'm Lisa.
And we're going to talk about happiness.
Yay!
So, to introduce the topic, there are many definitions of happiness. One of them is that happiness is a state of well-being and contentment. And let's go into the whole topic by, first of all, stating the happiest countries in the world. On place 1, we have Denmark. Place 2 is Switzerland. Place 3, Austria, although I'm not sure if that's right. Then Australia is on place 6, Canada place 8, 17, USA, 22, Great Britain, 39, France, 44, China, 45, India, and 46, Japan. And we will be, as we were asked to do in this presentation, we will be talking about the Bloa, Skloa, and Kloa in connection with happiness.
So I'm going to talk about how the biological level of analysis is connected with happiness. It's hard for humans to be happy in general because we have an inner voice of dissatisfaction. So we take positive for granted and notice all the negative things. That comes from the evolution, as we humans used to be really important to notice all the negative things so we can adapt to them and survive. There's a study by Lycan in 1996, the happiness twin study, and they tested if happiness, or the point of happiness, is inherited or not. They tested a number of identical twins, some of them which lived together and some of them which lived apart, and they found that happiness is 50% genetic, as in the twins that lived apart also showed about the same levels of happiness.
So it's similar to the Minnesota twin study, actually.
Sure. The study has a few weaknesses, like the Minnesota twin study, as it is very hard, as there are very few identical twins to start with, and then even fewer that live apart from birth onwards. So that's not such a good point. But the strength of the study is, though, that it's the only way to test the genetics of happiness through identical twins who have the same genetics code. They also found in the study that 10% of happiness is situational. So if the person is rich or pretty or healthy, etc. And also that's not what people believe. People believe usually that the happiest people on earth are the ones that are rich and pretty, beautiful. Sorry. And this study confirms that that's not the case. Also, that's a good issue, a good point, because it leaves room for people to pursue happiness even if they're not rich or not considered beautiful. And it leaves, according to the study, 40% in our own control to pursue happiness. Also, Sonia Lyobormuski, I don't think I said that wrong, of 2007, from the book of The How of Happiness, said that happiness is people are happy with what they think and what they do, and not if they're rich, for instance. Also, she found that there are a few factors that make people happy, or that all the happiest people on earth have in common. The devotion to family, if they can easily express gratitude for what they have, if they offer a lot of help, if they're optimistic, if they enjoy the pleasures of life and live in the present and not in the future or the past, if they do a lot of physical exercise, if they are committed to lifelong goals, and if they can cope well in times of crisis. So there are also a few strategies to increase happiness. According to Swartz et al., 1999, doing community service increases happiness. And of course, the strategies that I just mentioned, all those points that happy people have in common. If you show devotion to family, if you do exercise, if you are optimistic, if you live in the present, then that's supposed to increase your.
So now if we go on to the CLOA, the cognitive level of analysis in connection with happiness, as Lisa said before, happiness is not connected or influenced by wealth. And this was stated by Myers and Diners in 1995. who claimed there were two reasons for this. One was that people compare themselves to others. People compare themselves to others.
Wait.
Which is stated by the cognitive theory by Leon Festinger, which was the social comparison theory, which we learned about earlier, which states that we are happy as long as we have more than others when we compare ourselves to them, because we experience that we are better off than them. And the second reason for that is that happiness is linked to reaching goals, which was stated by Julian Rotter in the level of aspiration theory, which stated that people assess their chances and the chances of profit and the actual profit they could experience when they go on to doing something, which then influences their decision. And people set their goals. Like once people set their goals and they reach them, they set new goals which are higher. The problem with that is that they don't necessarily reach their goals, or they experience happiness for only a very short time, or they don't even experience happiness. Then Haggerty in 2003, this is not connected to what I said before, that's not a third point or so. So, new point. Haggerty in 2003 conducted a study in which he researched and studied the relationship between the distribution of wealth and happiness. And to do this, he compared the US to 7 other countries, and the results he found showed that there's a positive correlation between equal distribution of happiness, equal distribution of wealth and happiness. So as equality in distribution decreases, so does happiness. And also he found that this can be explained by the social comparison theory, and upwards comparison usually results in dissatisfaction, and that competing for wealth is not a recipe to, or a result, or a way to reach happiness.